What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Bailey Canning. I'm an independent marketing strategist, and on today's video, I wanted to go over the top 5 red flags in web designers. This video is aimed at companies or entrepreneurs or marketing directors or whoever is the decision maker within the company who's looking to hire a web designer or developer to build a new or redesigned website for their company. Also, if you are a web designer or a web developer who is looking to provide those services to companies, you can use this video as a checklist to make sure you're not guilty of any of these red flags, because if you are, it is going to be a massive problem for you going forward until you get these issues corrected. Now, it is super important that you are aware of these red flags from whichever side of the equation you are coming from here, because one, websites are expensive and long projects, so you really can't afford to hire the wrong person or agency. A lot of these things are going to be applicable to agencies as well, because if you are, it's going to be a lot of lost time, opportunity, and resources if you need to scrap the project and restart midway through. Obviously, you don't want that. And then 2, your company's website in this digital world that we live in is essentially the foundation of your entire online marketing strategy, meaning that it is very important that you get the foundation right, because any sort of marketing strategy you want to build on, whether it's digital ads, SEO, email marketing, content production, you name it, anything you build upon with a poor foundation is going to struggle. So that is why it is so important to get your website right, because if you do get it right, then you're going to have a lot of opportunity to grow your company with an effective digital marketing strategy. But if you get it wrong, then it's going to be very hard to do that, and you're going to be handicapped the entire way through. And then even after several years of trying, you might need to go back to the drawing board and build a new website from scratch one day. So that is why you should really watch this entire video to make sure that you are aware of these red flags when hiring a web designer or developer to build a new website for your company. Before we get into all that, like I said, my name is Bailey Canning. I'm an independent marketing strategist, primarily helping businesses and nonprofits with their branding, web design, and digital marketing. I put out at least one video per week on YouTube covering one of those topics. So if you are at all interested in those, then definitely feel free to subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to stick around. And without further ado, let's get into these red flags you need to know about when it comes to hiring a web designer. The first red flag in a web designer is going to be if they can't explain their process for designing and developing a website on your company's behalf. Now, the process is one of the main things you want to be evaluating agencies, freelancers, whoever it's going to be to build your new website. I actually made a video about this a few months ago, all about how to navigate that first call. This was one of the main pieces of advice I gave. I'm going to link that here in case you want to learn a little bit more about the ways you should vet agencies and freelancers who are going to be building a website or a marketing campaign on your behalf. But long story short, the process is essential for a web designer to be able to clearly explain, because if they can't explain it, they probably don't have a thought out process. And 2, the reason why it is so important that they have a process in the first place is that in a creative field like marketing, a streamlined, structured process is essential for being able to consistently deliver high quality creative results. A streamlined process is also very important to ensure that the agency or freelancer you hire is able to deliver your project on time. There's going to be quality design results that you see from the start. And also you're going to have the ability to provide feedback throughout the process to ensure that the final product is tailored to your liking. Also, when there are distinct phases and checklists within each phase, you're going to be able to sleep well at night knowing that the project is in good hands and that there's not going to be any oversights that lead to large technical issues. Case in point, I recently finished working on a website project for a client. The previous company they hired to build their website completely forgot to set up all the redirects necessary for moving to one website to another. And as a result, they lost a ton of traffic. They lost a huge amount of their keyword rankings. And for 1 quarter, their business almost tanked because they just weren't getting all the traffic they were used to from SEO. While it was a fix, it did obviously hurt that business in the short term. So you want to make sure that whoever you are talking to has a streamlined process to ensure that your project gets done quickly, on time, within budget, and that the results are going to be there at the end of the day. The second red flag is going to be if the web designer you're speaking with does not have any portfolio projects within your industry. Now, this is pretty obvious because, of course, before you hire someone and invest a lot of time, money, and resources into them, you're going to want to make sure that they actually have some results to back up everything that they are saying. And then, of course, you're probably also going to want to have testimonials from those case study projects as well as references. Now, I will caveat this by saying that it always is very case specific depending. So maybe you're on a very tight budget, you're a scrappy entrepreneur who needs to get a simple website up and running. This is a person in your network who you know of and they don't have a large portfolio. Maybe they're just getting into the industry as well. Because of that, they're able to not charge too much and that works for your budget. But keep in mind that it is very budget specific. So if you don't have a lot of money to invest, you might not be able to be picky with the portfolio of the person you hire. But if you're commissioning a large project where you're looking to invest, $10,000 or so dollars, which is what I really recommend you do for a phase one build, then absolutely you're going to want to have the freelancer you're speaking with be able to provide you website links, case studies, testimonials, and references to their past clients, all within your specific industry. All right, the third red flag here is going to be if the web designer you are speaking with does not use professional tools to build and develop websites. You should one be asking them, hey, what tool or what platform are we going to be building the website with? This is obviously important for you to know because, like I said, the website is going to become the foundation of your company's marketing strategy. And once you build a website, it's never just done. You're going to want to be adding new pages, new features, new content articles, whatever it may be. You're going to want to always be improving your website in some form or fashion. And also, this is just going to be the platform you are in and day out, updating the website, creating new pages, etc., unless you plan to completely outsource that to an agency or freelancer at the conclusion of the project. Now, the reason why you want to ensure the person you hire is using professional tools is that if they are not, then that is going to hamper the final production quality of the website. You should ask them, first of all, what platform are you going to build the website in? And if they say Squarespace or they say Wix, that's going to be a huge red flag because that's going to severely limit the functionality of your website. And then also, if they're saying something like WordPress, I would drill down a little bit more because there are many different flavors WordPress comes in. If they're going to be using a drag and drop page builder like Elementor, for example, then again, that's just going to result in very bloated code and you're not going to be able to have complete design freedom because it's going to be very template based. And ultimately, your website is just going to look very generic. If they say they're using tools like Webflow, which is what I use almost exclusively for website projects at this point, that's going to be great because that means the person needs to know actually how to code, or at least they have to have the theoretical knowledge of code. And then two, that's just going to make sure that your website is able to adapt to the changing strategies and nature of your business. So you're never locked into one platform that can't change with your business. Webflow is a great platform that's going to be able to grow with your business. You're going to be able to achieve any design possible on the web. You're going to have access to tons of features and tons of benefits that the other platforms are not able to compete with. Another tool that would be a green flag for me would be if they're using Framer. Framer is very cool because the unique value proposition is one, you can design anything achievable with the web today, just like Webflow, but also it's going to be a lot faster to design, execute, and develop that website with Framer. Long story short, if you are hiring a professional to build your company's website, make sure they're using professional tools. That means Webflow and Framer are in. WordPress is iffy, depends on their setup. If they're using a page builder like Elementor or Beaver Builder or Divi or one of those things, red flag. If they're using something that's a little bit more development oriented like Bricks Builder, green flag, I'll give you that. But then again, if they're using Wix or Squarespace, you want to avoid those platforms. All right, shameless plug. If you are looking to hire a web designer or developer to build a new website for your company that does not exhibit any of these red flags, then feel free to book a consultation with myself. There is a project form in the description of this video where I'll ask you a couple questions about your project. And if you are well qualified, you can book time directly on my calendar. During that meeting, I will take the time to learn more about your company's background, the services it provides, the types of clients you're looking to reach online. And based on everything you tell me, I will help you outline a website and digital marketing game plan to increase traffic to your website, generate more leads and ultimately close more sales. If that sounds interesting to you, then definitely check out the project form in the description. And without further ado, let's get back to today's video. The fourth red flag in my experience is going to be if the web designer or agency or freelancer, whoever you're hiring to build a website for your company, if they're not also able to help you with marketing your company after the fact, you may want to look elsewhere. The reason is, like I said, again, the website is just step one in a much broader, much longer term marketing strategy. And so it's great if someone can help you with step one, but if they're not able to help you with getting traffic to the website by focusing on marketing channels like SEO, like paid ads on Google or Meta, or by helping you create content to build awareness for your brand, it's going to be very problematic because they're not going to be able to help you get the most return on investment on your website project. And then secondly, for you as the business owner or project stakeholder for a company looking to hire these marketing professionals, basically once the website project is concluded, you're going to start from scratch again because you're going to have to hire some sort of marketing consultant or agency or a different freelancer to handle the marketing for your company. And they might have an entirely different viewpoint on what the best website platform is, what the best strategy is here. They're going to maybe even want to rethink things from a branding and positioning perspective. So that is why it is just so important to make sure that if you are hiring a web designer or a web developer, that they also have some marketing chops and can help you leverage the website, not just as a digital brochure, but a living, breathing sales tool that's able to generate leads for your business 24/7 in the background. So that is why if you are hopping on any call with a freelancer, I would highly recommend you ask them, what can they help you do from a marketing perspective once the website is done? And I'll also tell you that by having that marketing experience and expertise as well, that's going to help the website be much more effective because they're not just going to be thinking about the website per se, they're going to be thinking about the broader online marketing strategy and how the website fits into that and can augment those lead generation efforts you're going after. So in conclusion, it is a red flag, in my humble opinion, if a web designer is not able to help you with any marketing services going forward at the conclusion of a project, because ultimately it's going to hamper the final output quality of the website. And then two, you're just not going to be able to get the return on investment for your project that you're really going after. My fifth and final red flag here is going to be if you can preview the design of the website before it gets built and developed, that's going to be a pretty big red flag. So what I mean by this is that, for example, when I take on new web design client projects, I use a tool before we even go into the development phase with Webflow called Figma, which is the industry standard tool for UI and UX design. With this tool, I'm able to create high fidelity wireframes of the proposed design and mock them up so that my clients are able to have a 100% realistic preview of the website before any development work gets done. This gives them the ability to preview the design, ask questions, and provide feedback and edits. So then we can revise the design that's more in line with what the client wants for their business. If you're paying a lot of money, you should obviously be able to preview the design and provide your feedback so that it fits what you're envisioning. But second, going back to process just ensures that the whole process is much more streamlined and we're never taking 2 steps forward but 1 step back, which is a very inefficient way to run these projects. So that's why it's super important, because it would be a huge red flag if the person you're speaking with says they're going to build the website and they're not going to show you what the copy is going to look like. They're not going to show you what the designs are going to look like. They're just going to send you a link in a month and then it's supposed to be your website. And also know that these design tools like Figma make it a lot more easier to revise a design much faster than they would be in the actual website platform itself. So if a web designer is not going to send you wireframes of at least the key pages of the website before any development work starts, that is a huge red flag. It also means they probably don't know a whole lot about UX or UI design. That's just going to really hamper the effectiveness of your website from a marketing and lead gen perspective, because the website should be strategically built, not just to look pretty, but to one, have great copy, but two, have the layouts be well structured and logical so that visitors are funneled to certain sections of the website based on where they are in their buyer's journey. The website should be built to segment people who, if they're bottom of the funnel, if they're looking to set up consultations and meetings right now, it's going to be very easy for them to do that. However, if they're still top of the funnel and they need to learn more about your company's services, they need to do more research, then you want to make sure you're funneling them to pages that are going to do that and nurture them into ultimately booking a consultation. If the person you're hiring is not going to have wireframes and previews of the design built into their process so that you can provide your feedback and make revisions where possible, then honestly, huge red flag, because the project is probably going to take a very long time, or it's not going to turn out the way you want, and you're going to have very little input in the direction of the project. So that's it for me in this one. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. If you did, definitely subscribe to my channel, because I'm putting out helpful marketing content like this about once per week. Make sure to check out my websites below. And without further ado, I will see you in the next one. Take it easy. Bye.